Hi, I'm Carrie, and welcome to the Pandemic Survival Series. During the pandemic, many people have really struggled with social distancing from their friends and family, from isolation, feelings of loneliness, constant health concerns, financial insecurity, and a constant 24-hour news cycle. If you're feeling depressed about that, or if you already had symptoms of depression and the pandemic is making them feel worse or more pronounced, you're not alone. The Kaiser Family Foundation did a study in the United States, and over half of respondents to that survey said that they felt that the pandemic was adversely impacting their mental health in some way. When you're feeling depressed, the last thing you may want to do is get some exercise, but movement actually really can help. So today I've got a gentle flow for you. It's going to be, some back bends and just some very gentle work. I've got a breathing exercise for you. And, that movement can be very, very beneficial. For this practice, you don't have to have any props. I've got a couple of blocks with me. But if you don't have blocks, thick books stand in just as well, or I'm going to show you a modification to one of the poses with a chair. Also, we are going to do a pose up against the wall. We're going to put our legs up the wall. So before we get started, go ahead and find a spot in your house that has a blank wall, that has enough blank space on it for you to get your legs up. And one last thing, always, I'm going to remind you to listen to your body. If something doesn't feel quite right, or if it's painful, stop. If I do something that you feel like you don't need to be doing, don't do it. You can take a resting pose, or you can take one of the modifications that I'm going to show you. And if there's no reason for you to feel like you have to go to the edge with any of these poses. Just make these feel good, make them feel easy, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining me today. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start on our back, and I'm going to show you a breathing technique called ThreePart Breath. It is so called. The three parts are the abdomen, the diaphragm, and the chest. And it's a great way to start to get into more deep breathing using your entire lung capacity. Many of us do very shallow chest breathing, and so this breathing technique is very calming and a great way to get breath into all of the lungs everywhere it's needed. So we'll go ahead and start lying on your back. Come on down. And you can do this lying on your back, but you can also do it in easy seat, or you can do it sitting in a chair, anywhere that your abdomen is kind of free and you can breathe. So you don't want to do it in a pose that's constricting your abdomen in any way. But I think it's much easier to feel the parts of the breath lying down. So here we are. Take your left hand and place it on your abdomen. Just place it on your belly. And take your right hand and place it on the outside of the rib cage. And we're going to begin just by breathing nice deep breaths into your belly. So as you inhale, you can feel your belly. You see my hands start to rise. You can feel your belly come up. And on the exhale, let it out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. So just getting a sense of the way the belly expands and contracts as you breathe. A few more on your own breath. Inhale. Good. Now on your next inhale, as you inhale, feel your belly come up, but then allow the breath to start to come into the lower part of the chest. So the breath will fill the abdomen and the diaphragm and kind of come up to the bottom of the rib cage. And you'll feel that with your right hand. So on the inhale, your belly will come up, but then your right hand will also come out as your rib cage starts to expand. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Belly comes up, ribs expand, and exhale. The rib cage contracts towards the center and the belly contracts. Inhale. And exhale. Just a couple more times on your own breath, breathing through your nose. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And the next time we inhale, you'll go ahead, your belly will rise, your ribs will expand, and bring the breath into all the way up through the chest. Imagine your breath going into the collarbone, so feeling your whole chest expanding, and exhale. To do this, just move your right hand to the top of your chest like so. So inhale, you'll feel your left hand come up as your belly expands with air. Let the breath continue to travel up, up, up through the rib cage, chest expands. And you feel the right hand rise at the chest, and exhale. The right hand contracts, the ribs contract towards the center, and the belly contracts. Inhale, up through the abdomen to the bottom of the rib cage, through the rib cage, chest expands, collarbone spreads, and exhale. And we'll continue like this. We'll do 10 breaths just like this. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And continue on your own breath. A couple things with this breathing. Just expand until the lungs are full. There's no need to continue to breathe in until your lungs feel like they're going to burst. That's not calming. Just let your chest fill with air. Feel like your entire lungs are filled with air, and then exhale. Just a couple more breaths here. And at the bottom of the exhale, just release your hands out to the sides and take a few breaths just normally. You can release that 3-part breath.
Take a moment to notice any sensations in your body. Feel all the places that your body makes contact with the mat or with the chair if you're sitting in a chair. Inhale deeply. And then exhale, just roll to one side. And come on up to an easy seat. And we'll start to loosen up the body a little bit. So from here, just start to let your shoulders make circles in one direction. Just really loose here. Good. And then the other, switch directions. Good. Inhale, and then exhale, let your chin drop to your chest, and just circle your head in one direction. Nice and slowly so you don't get dizzy. And switch directions. Good. And inhale back to center. Exhale. And on your next inhale, reach up, take up lots of space, reach up, palms up to touch overhead. And then exhale, twist to your right. Take your left hand, place it on the right knee, take the right hand and place it behind you. On an inhale, sit up nice and tall. And on an exhale, twist, looking over your right shoulder. Breathe here. And on your inhale, come back to center. Exhale, switch sides, right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Inhale to sit up nice and tall. And exhale, twist to your left, gazes over the left shoulder. Breathe here. And then inhale, come back to center. On the next exhale, reach out with the right arm and reach over with the left. Maybe gaze is under your left arm. Let your left hip stay ground to the mat. So it's going to want to pop up. Try and encourage it to stay. Inhale, come back through center. And exhale, reach out to the left. Right arm comes overhead. Feel a big stretch in your side body. And inhale, come back to center. That should feel pretty good. We do a lot of sitting during the pandemic. We are on our computers a lot, and those moves really help. Now we're going to take your feet and place the bottoms of your feet together. So your knees are out. If this is uncomfortable for your knees, and if you have blocks or books, you can place them under your knees if you need them. And then inhale, sit up nice and tall, and exhale, just reach forward. You don't have to come down too far. Just come down as far as you feel some sensation. It's a nice lower back stretch. And just breathe here. Good, and inhale, come on back up. I'm gonna move these blocks out of the way. And bring your legs out to a straddle position. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, sits bones ground into the mat. And exhale, take your right peace fingers, your middle and index finger, and just grab the right big toe. And exhale, another big side body stretch. If you can't grab your big toe, just grab your foot or your ankle or your shin, or place your hand on the floor. Breathe here, feels really good. And inhale to come back up. From here, just take your chest and shoulders and rotate them, turn your waist so that your chest and shoulders are facing down to your right leg. Inhale, and then exhale, just come forward. And stretch here. And inhale, come back to center and switch. Take the left peace fingers, grab the left big toe, reach over with your right arm. Gaze is under your right arm. And feeling that nice side body stretch in the right side. Inhale to come on up. And chest and shoulders rotate towards the left leg and come on down. And inhale, come back to center. Go ahead and come to a tabletop position. You're going to come to hands and knees. So my spine is neutral here, wrists directly beneath the shoulders, and my knees are about hip distance apart and they're underneath the hips. We're going to do a few cat and cow stretches. So from here, from this neutral spine, inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, tug the pelvis up, and look up. And exhale, press the mat away from you, tuck the pelvis in, round the spine like an angry cat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, tilt the pelvis up and look up. And exhale, press the mat away, round the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, look up. And exhale, round the spine. Continue this on your own breath. Connecting breath to movement. One more round just like this. And we're going to add on. So inhale, back to your cow, chest lifted, belly is dropped. And then exhale, round the spine and sit back, hips to heels, child's pose. Then inhale, come on up, drop the belly, lift the chest, look up. And exhale, tuck the pelvis, round the spine and press back to child's pose. Inhale, back to cow. And exhale, round to cat and press back. 3 more rounds just like this on your own breath. Was that 2 or 3? Let's do one more. Inhale, round, drop the belly. And exhale, round the spine and hips back to child's pose. Inhale, come on back up. And we're spending some time on our wrists. If you're not used to that, then your wrists might start to feel a little bit tender. So we're going to do a few simple wrist stretches before we go ahead. So from here, take your fingers and turn your hands, invert the hands so that your fingers are facing towards your knees, just like this. Inhale, and then exhale, bring the hips back just enough so that you start to feel that stretch in your wrist. You don't need to go far, just till you feel the engagement. And breathe here. Also, we're not used to moving our wrists in this way a lot of times, and so you're helping to improve the mobility in your wrists. So get the stretch you want to get, and then inhale, come on back to center. Carefully pick your hands up and place them again down so that your fingers are facing each other. Your middle fingers are touching or practically touching. And then we're going to just make circles. So circle your whole body around. Just make a few circles in one direction and then the other. Good. And inhale, come back to center. Now, from here, we're going to do one more wrist stretch, and you let's see. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. So we're going to turn our hands, we're going to invert our hands completely so that our palms are facing up. So on an inhale, deeply bend your right elbow and then lift your hand up so that the hand is upside down. Right? So on an inhale, go ahead and straighten the elbow. It doesn't have to be completely straight, and you shouldn't go past where, if you feel the stretch, then you're good. And then from here, if you want, you can wiggle your fingers, make fists and let them go. But this should feel like a pretty nice wrist stretch. Good. And exhale. Now to get out of this, really bend your right elbow deeply and then get out of it. And we're going to do the left hand. So again, flip the hand up so that the wrist is facing away from you, fingers are facing towards you, and the palm is facing up. Inhale to straighten the elbow. And exhale, maybe wiggle your fingers, make fists. Good. And on an exhale, bend the elbow deeply to come out of that, and just sit back on your heels and roll your wrists out. That will help. Little wrist stretches. Maybe make jellyfish fingers, just like this. They look like jellyfish. Clasp your hands together and roll your wrists out. Good. Inhale and exhale. Come on back to your tabletop. Then tuck the toes, lift the hips, and press back to downward facing dog. It's your first downward facing dog of the day, so let's talk a little bit about downward facing dog. Bring your attention to your index finger and your thumb and really ground them into the mat. So when you do that, you'll notice that your hips go back a little further and your heels are a little closer to the mat. Your heels don't have to touch the mat, but they should be headed in that direction. So really get a nice stretch here. Inhale, maybe pedal the knees out a little bit, pedal the heels. Just breathe here. And then on an exhale, come to stillness. Inhale, look up between the hands, jump or step to the front of your mat and fold. Grab opposite elbows and just dangle here a little bit like a rag doll. So you're bent at the waist. Your knees can be a little bit bent. They can be, they can be as bent as they need to be. And you're lengthening your spine a little bit here and just dangling like a rag doll. And then place your hands down, and on an inhale, come up, rise up, palms to touch overhead, and exhale, palms to heart center. Now we're going to do a little bit of that movement just to kind of get the circulation going. So we'll do these half sun salutations several times. I'll show you with a lot of instruction, and then I'll let you do a couple on your own with no instruction at all, and just let it be very meditative, okay? So on the inhale, come on up, palms up to touch, and then exhale. Swan dive forward fold here. Inhale, look up, flat back, half fold. So my back is nice and flat. Your hands can come to your shins or fingertips to the floor as long as your back is flat and your chest is lifted. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, palms to heart center. We'll do that a few more times. So inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up, flat back, half fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come on up, palms up. And exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good, and one more time all the way through, connecting breath to movement. And palms to heart center. Good, good job. So now that we've just kind of gotten the body moving a little bit, inhale, arms up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, look up, flat back, half fold. And then exhale, fold, plant the palms and step back into your tabletop position. So knees directly underneath the hips and wrists directly underneath the shoulders. Good. Now from here, inhale, and then exhale, press the right leg back. Flex the right foot like you're trying to stomp on the back wall, but let your weight be evenly distributed between both sides of your body. And you can keep it here, or on an inhale, bring your left arm up. I have a chair there. Left arm up and balance. Good, just breathe here. Weight evenly distributed between the left and right sides. And exhale to release. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So inhale and exhale. Step the right foot back like you're trying to stomp on the back wall. Nice flex in the left foot. And get yourself balanced, get yourself stable between both sides of the body. And you can stay here, or on an inhale, bring the right arm up, palm facing in. And balance and breathe. Navel towards the spine, keeping your core nice and stable. Flexing the foot. Inhale. And exhale to come on down. So we're going to do that one more time, and we're going to add on. So inhale, exhale, right foot back, flex in the foot. If you feel stable here, on an inhale, bring the left arm up. Then you can stay here or bend the right knee. And you can stay here or reach back with the left hand, grab the right ankle, like the top of the foot really, and then push out with the right foot. Push the right foot into the left hand and lift the chest. But remember, you can also stay here or here and release. Good. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So now that you know where we're headed, inhale and then exhale, press back with the left leg, the foot flexed like you're going to stomp on the wall. Inhale, right arm comes up. And you can stay here or bend the left knee so that the foot is going towards like it's going to stomp on the ceiling. And you can stay here or reach back with the right hand, grab the top of the left foot, kick out with the left foot so you're pressing into the hand, lift the chest, lift the chin. Tiger pose. Inhale and exhale to release. Good work. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and press back to downward facing dog. Take just a moment here to notice how you feel. Let the backs of your legs get a nice stretch, grounding into the mat with the index finger and the thumb so that your hips go back a little bit more. Inhale, and then exhale, bring the knees down back to that tabletop. Inhale here, and then we're going to do a pose called puppy dog pose. It's like a downward facing dog except with bent knees and you're reaching out. So from here, just start to walk your hands forward And then come down like so. You're leading with your chest. Come down just like this. So you see I'm still kind of in a tabletop with the bottom half of my body. And my chest is open here, my heart is lifted. Now, I want to show you a few modifications for that pose. You can use blocks. So I'm going to show you that. So, using your blocks, have your elbows directly underneath your shoulders and then kind of start to walk them out so that when you come down, your head has a little more room, your chest has a little more room. And there you are. And yet another way to do this is with a chair. So I have this chair here. I'm going to bring this over and show you. You can use this chair to do the very same thing. You're getting the very same benefits. The chest is open, heart is open. So choose your variation. And that's puppy dog pose. Good. Go ahead and come back to your tabletop. So we've done a lot of puppy dog, so that's enough of that. Come on back to tabletop, take your hips back to your heels, and just find rest in child's pose. Couple of breaths here. And on an inhale, come on up. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, press back to downward facing dog. And on an inhale, lift the right leg. And exhale, step the right foot through. You can use your hand. And bring the left knee down. Bring the top of the left foot down. And come on up to a low lunge. So I'm sinking my hips here. My hips are going forward and down. Come up to the thigh here. Really sink the hip. Knee is bent. Inhale. And then exhale, take the hip back, bring the right foot up. So you're in a hamstring stretch here. Inhale, come forward to the low lunge. And exhale, hips back, peeling the front foot up, the right foot is flexed. Inhale, back to the lunge. And exhale, come on back to that hamstring stretch. Inhale, hold here, lengthen your spine, and then exhale, bow into that front leg. So you're really getting a nice hamstring stretch here. Breathe here. And on the next inhale, come back to that low lunge and hold here. Maybe come up to the thigh. Sink the hip. Inhale, arms up. Shoulders down. Inhale. And exhale. Bring both your hands to the inside of the right foot and walk your right foot out to the right edge of the mat. Your knee may want to wing out to the right. Your right foot may want to come up on the outer edge of the right, its own outer edge, and that's perfectly fine. You can let it. You can stay here. It's a big hip opener. You can stay here, or you can come down to your forearms like this. Now, you can also use a block or two. You can use blocks to come down, and it brings the earth up to you a little bit. Whichever way you choose, inhale deeply and exhale. And hold here. Scan your body for anywhere you feel tension. And where you feel it, just invite it to soften. A couple more breaths here. Good, and on an inhale, carefully press up. If you had blocks, just set them to the side. And come down, bring your right foot around, come down to the left forearm, bend the right knee, open the hip, and just make circles with your hips here. That was a super intense hip opener, so just give your hips a little love and switch directions. Good, and then come on back to tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and press back, downward facing dog. Take just a moment here to notice how you feel. Notice any sensations in your legs. Notice the difference between your two legs, which should be significant. And then on an inhale, the left leg comes up. And exhale, step the left leg through, come down onto the right knee, top of the right foot, and come up to your low lunge. Hips forward and down. Inhale here, and then exhale, take the hips back, peel the left foot up so the left foot is flexed. Inhale back to the low lunge. And exhale. Inhale to the lunge. And exhale. Next time you find yourself in that hamstring stretch, hold here, flex the left foot. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale to bow. Deep bow into that front leg. And just breathe, nice full breaths here. And on your next inhale, come back to that low lunge and hold here. Maybe come up to the thigh. Drop the shoulders back and down. Lift the arms up. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the hands down and place both hands inside of the left foot, because yes, it is that time again. Sink the hip and walk the left foot out to the outer edge of your mat. Just let the left foot open onto the outer edge. Let the knee come out. And you can stay here. Again, you can use blocks to come to forearms. You can come to your forearms without blocks. Whichever you choose. Find the shape and then inhale and exhale. We hold so much tension and so much emotion in our hips. So hip openers are a great way of helping stored up emotion to move on and process through. Couple more breaths here. And on an inhale, carefully press up. Again, bring that left foot around, bend the knee, open the hip, come down onto the right forearm, and just open that hip. Ooh, that feels nice. And circle the hip in one direction. Good, and then the other. Good. Come on back to center, to that tabletop position. Then tuck the toes, lift the hips, press back to your downward facing dog. Pressing into the mat with the index finger and the thumb, really letting those hips go back and the heels go toward the mat. Inhale, look up between the hands, jump or step to the front of your mat and fold. Inhale, rise up. Palms up to touch, and exhale, palms to heart center. And just step out wide onto your mat, boom. So feet are at about a 45-degree angle, and inhale, and exhale, come forward to a nice deep forward fold. And your hands can just be anywhere. They can be on the mat, directly beneath your shoulders, or you can take them behind you, or you can just dangle here. It is up to you, but you should just feel a nice stretch in the back of the legs. Inhale and exhale, walk both your hands over to the right ankle. Place the left hand on top of the right and just stretch here. Just getting a nice stretch in the back of your right leg. And inhale back through center. And exhale, walk out to the left. Right hand on top of the left hand. And just bow into that left leg. It's so good for your brain to be upside down. And inhale back to center. Take your right hand and place it directly beneath your face, right? And then really press into the mat. So your chest has some buoyancy here, and just sweep the left arm up. The gaze can be up at the left hand, or it can be down at the right hand. Whichever feels better to your neck, but just really pressing into the mat gives you that lift in the chest that you want here. Inhale. And exhale to come on down and switch sides. So place the left hand on the mat directly beneath the face. Press that left hand into the mat. Get that lift in the chest and sweep up with the right arm. Gaze is up at the hand or down at the left hand. Inhale and exhale to come on back down. Walk your hands back to the front of your mat. Step your back foot back so your left and right feet are at the back of your mat. And your hands at the front in downward facing dog. Then just come on down to your tabletop and come to a seated position. And we'll do a little spinal twist. So from here, you are seated, knees bent, feet planted on the mat about hip distance apart. Take your, we're gonna lie down for this one. So come on down to your back. Knees bent, feet ground into the mat. Take your right ankle and place it on top of your left thigh, just below the knee. And it's another kind of little, you're getting into your hip a little bit. Inhale, bring the left knee into the chest, grab behind your left thigh. And then if you want, you can stay here, or on an inhale, you can extend the left leg. Just getting a nice stretch in the hip. We worked those hips pretty good earlier, so this probably feels pretty nice. We hope so anyway. Inhale, and then exhale. Release the thigh, bring the foot back down to the mat. Now cross the right knee over the left. So it's like you're sitting in a chair with your legs crossed, arms out to a T. Inhale and exhale, take both knees out to the left. And if it feels okay to your neck, you can look out to the right. So a big spinal twist here. And breathe, nice full breaths. And on an inhale, come on up and unwind yourself. Place both feet back down on the mat, about hip distance apart. And then take your left ankle, place it on top of the right thigh, just below the knee. And inhale, bring the right knee into the chest, grab behind your right thigh. So my hands are clasped behind my right thigh. And then you can stay here, just pressing your knee so that it's going more towards your chest, or inhale to extend the leg and just breathe here. Getting a little hip stretch. Inhale And exhale, bring the foot down, release the thigh with your hands. Just place your hands by your sides and cross your left knee over your right like you're sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. Inhale and exhale, take both knees over to the right. Your gaze is either up at the ceiling or, if your neck will tolerate it, it's out to the left. So it's a nice spinal twist. And breathe here. And on an inhale, come on back to center and release. Just roll to one side and come on up to seated. And we're gonna take another side stretch. So you can have your legs in just an easy seat, or you can have your legs in fire log, which is bend your, I'm gonna bend my left leg, bend the knee, flex the foot, and then stack the right leg on top of the left. So it's, you know, your knee and foot, knee and foot. That's called fire log. And then what we're gonna do from here, inhale, bring your left arm up and place it on the right knee. Then take your left ankle and bring, your left ankle, your left shoulder. I do that a lot. And bring the shoulder down to the knee. So left hand to right knee, left shoulder to left knee. And then reach over with the right arm. So it's a big side body stretch. Y'all were like, I can't do that with my ankle, Carrie. It doesn't make any sense. And you're absolutely right. Inhale, come back to center. And then just switch legs. So the right leg comes down, stack the left leg on top, or just come to an easy seat, switching legs. Inhale with the right arm, and then take the right hand, place it to the left knee, right shoulder to right knee, and reach over with the left arm. Big ol' stretch. And inhale, come back to center. Go ahead and lie down on your mat and place and bring the bottoms of your feet together. So we're gonna do a reclining bound angle pose here. So you're lying on your mat, place the bottoms of the feet together, and just let your knees drop open, let your hips drop. And just recline here for a moment. If you like, you can keep your arms down by your sides, or you can reach overhead and clasp opposite elbows with your hands overhead. It's up to you as to whether the expanse feels good or whether you want the grounding of keeping your hands on the mat. It is entirely up to you. And inhale, take your hands and bring your knees back together. Then take your feet and place them about mat distance apart. We're gonna do a couple of hip bridges here. Take your arms and place them by your side. So press your forearms into the mat. Your palms are ground into the mat. Your feet are ground into the mat. And on an inhale, press your feet and your hands and your forearms into the mat and lift your hips carefully up. On an inhale, lift. Keep your knees and your inner thighs pushing toward your midline. So not letting them wing out, but keeping them toward the midline. Inhale here, and then exhale. Start to come down vertebra by vertebra. Roll down from the top of your spine to the bottom. And exhale. One more of those. So inhale, press your feet into the mat, press your forearms and your palms into the mat, lift your hips. Hold here, full breaths here. Do not turn your head in this position. Just keep your spine neutral. And then exhale, roll down vertebra by vertebra. Tailbone's the last thing to come down, and release. Good. Bring your knees into your chest and just rock side to side, rolling out your back. Great. And then come back to center. Now you can stay here or grab the outsides of your feet with your hands. Bring your knees and your feet about a little more than hip distance apart. So they're nice and wide, and just rock from side to side and roll around and wallow. This feels really good. Inhale and exhale to release. The time has come, so make your way to your blank wall, and I'll meet you over there, and we'll do just a few minutes of an inversion in legs up the wall. I'm going to show you my favorite restorative pose, or one of them anyway, and it's legs up the wall. It's considered an inversion, but unlike a headstand or a handstand, it's really, really restorative. It's great for balancing the nervous system, and inversions are so good for just getting blood to your brain, and they feel really great. So I'm going to show you how to do it. To get into this pose, to get up on the wall, we're getting up on the wall. So bring your right hip, or your left, but I'm starting with my right, right up on the wall. So my hip is placed up against the wall. I'm feeling, the wall on my leg and my hip. And then from here, I'm just going to start to ease myself down. So there's no great way to get into that. I mean, this is how it happens. So just bring your legs up the wall and kind of scoot around. Great. You maybe have to scooch up a little bit. But what you eventually want is you want your legs to be completely supported by the wall. So your legs are touching wall from your heels all the way down to your seat. So it's like you're sitting on the wall. Then your back is completely supported by the floor. So you are in a 90-degree angle. But when you get into this position, you feel totally supported by the wall and the floor. Just let your arms come down by your sides. And again, if you want to feel more grounded, palms come down and press into the ground. For a more receptive posture, palms can be flipped up. Either, when you find the shape that you want to be in, inhale here and exhale. And we're going to hold here for just a couple of minutes. Just allow your breath to be even. As thoughts enter your mind, just let them pass on through. Just a couple more breaths here. So start to deepen your breath. Inhale and exhale. Just roll off to one side and linger here for just a moment. And then just very gently press yourself up to seated and make your way onto your back. So now it's time for our final resting pose, our Savasana. So go ahead and lie flat on your mat. Just lie on your mat. Extend your legs along the length of your mat. Just let your ankles come to opposite corners of the front of your mat. Allow your shoulder blades to tuck underneath you and just let your shoulders drop open. And get nice and still, arms by your sides. I like to have my palms flipped up. It helps me release my shoulders. But if it's more grounding to you to keep your palms into the floor or the mat, I invite you to do that. When you get in a position where you feel like you can be super still, just inhale and sigh it out. And inhale. Soften what needs to be softened. Release what needs to be released. Let your feet and ankles drop open. Soften your knees and your thighs. Let your hips sink. Let your belly be soft. Just allow your breath to be easy in your chest. Let your shoulders drop. Let your arms be heavy. Soften your fingers. Soften your throat. Release your jaw. Just allow your eyes to sink back into their sockets. Soften your forehead, your cheeks, your cheekbones. Let your temples drop. Let your head be heavy. Just allow your body to be completely supported by the mat underneath you. Feel free to stay in this position as long as you like. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope that it served you. Thanks so much for joining me. Namaste. Be well.